I'll share my screen for the smooth conduct of this panel discussion. And I think I hope you can see my screen. And now already two abstract has been discussed. Uh, the third abstract was regarding phase 3 randomized trial of early versus salvage radiotherapy in medical prostatectomy. And it was supposed to be, the comments were supposed to be from Dr. Vikas from Jammu, and since he's not available. And in fact, it's a very interesting trial in which they have taken all the high risk patients and given and divided them into two groups. One is where they have given adjuvant RT, and another group they have just delayed the RT and given a salvage RT when the PSA start rising. And in the end of the day, the both were same, and the toxicity was lesser in the salvage arm. Although it may sound a bit contrary, because if margin is positive and we conventional thinking is that we should add radiotherapy, but in this trial they have shown that even if you delay the radiotherapy till the PSA starts rising, there's no difference in the survival. So, what is the opinion of my other panelists on this one, on this study?
In fact, in our radiation oncology teaching and practice till now, we are very inclined to treat these patients with positive margin and those into the high risk to initiate our adjuvant radiotherapy from the beginning. But this study shows us that 50% of these patients they can do away without radiation also, so that in those patients we are able to save the morbidity in these patients. So we will have to divide. Like there are some patients whom we can depend; they are regular on the follow-ups and they will present to us when a recurrence will happen. So we can keep those patients on the follow-up. On the other side, we are having some
With the
patients
PS,
not
yes, sir.
well for this. So those patients we should be starting adjuvant radiation.
And I will also like to know the opinion of Dr. Harpreet sir. What is his opinion on this particular study?
I think I agree with Dr. Dinesh. Uh, I think he has put it very nicely. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's put it very nicely that those patients whom we expect a good follow-up can be candidates for just observation and then maybe treating if there is a progression in PSA or we have some other indication for a metastatic disease or a progressive disease. But otherwise, we can keep these patients on follow-up only.
Yeah, because sir, nowadays we are getting a lot of patients after radical prostatectomy because of the arrival of the robotic prostatectomy. So
Uh,
more and more
another
patients. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
another point is that in most of the centers, the urologists don't generally send the patients
yes.
to us for radiation, even if the factors that were agreed upon by Astro and AUA were present, like the seminal vesicle margins or extracapsular spread or PNI. So we are not generally getting those patients directly after surgery. So they
Yes,
are
sir.
already following this.
Yes, sir. And so the next abstract, which was presented by Sagar from our hospital, only relates to the development and validation of first HGC compliant clinical staging system for localized prostate cancer, and it was a multi-centric study. So I will go to Dr. Dinesh for his expert comments on this.
Yeah, I think it was a nice study, and they have got more than 60 institutes. Data was pulled into this, and they have what we have been seeing in our practice, that the same stage and the risk group patient, they behave differently over the time. The same has been put by these presenters, and now they are incorporating other factors like the age, the dividing age into less than 50, 50 to 70, more than 70, which will differentiate our practice. Another thing which they have pointed out is that the Gleason's, which we, for example, Gleason 7 is 4 plus 3 or 3 plus 4. It makes a difference. Like 3 plus 4 is less aggressive than the 4 plus 3. So this factor should also be taken into account when we are deciding upon the treatment which we are going to incorporate. Another thing which we have point out is that the PSA score, they traditionally it has been 4 to 10, 10 to 20, and more than 20. It also has been subdivided into groups like 6 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 50. and 50 to 200. So, and in times to come, we are going to incorporate molecular biology and functional imaging also into these. So the idea is to break down the heterogeneity of these patients so that we can do a tailor-made treatment of our prostate cancer patients.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. The next abstract was the radical prostatectomy, external beam radiation, or EBRT plus BrachyBoost. And it was a multicentric comparison of the outcomes, and it showed that the addition of brachytherapy boost improves the outcome in a lot of patients. And the abstract was supposed to be discussed by Dr. Vinod Nimran, and since he's not available. But the only thing I would like to add from my side is that it is a kind of retrospective study and a hypothesis generating. So, plus I think not much of our colleagues and centers are practicing brachytherapy in prostate. So, what is the opinion of my panelists on this one? If they like to add something on this, Dr. Kinjal, what about it? The study shows that the addition of brachytherapy boost improves the outcome in prostate cancer.
Yeah. So again, whenever we talk about brachytherapy to any site in the body, the expertise of the treating doctor should be the most important thing, and the facility which is available. Very few people are doing a prostate brachytherapy with HDR. So adding a boost with brachytherapy in Indian scenario looks to be a difficult situation. But yes, people like, I discuss a lot of cases with Sridhar, who does a boost with a cyber knife, after giving a 50 gray to the whole pelvis, he does a boost to the prostate with cyber knife. So people, with the facilities what they are having, they tend to boost the prostate with the different techniques. So basically the thing is, if you give a high dose to the prostate and, sparing of normal tissues are better, you will definitely have a better results, better outcomes. So, it depends on the facility what you have, how you do it.
So the next abstract, we'll go to the next one. I think it's where the slides are not moving. Yeah. So the next abstract was also allotted to Dr. Vikas, and since he's not here, it was 2 years anti-androgen therapy increases other cause mortality in men receiving early salvage radiotherapy. And I think for the interest of time, we'll skip this one also. And since Dr. Raja is here, I would like to know his opinion on this abstract, the biochemical definition of pure folic brachytherapy of prostate cancer. Of course, again, brachytherapy, much of our colleagues are not practicing, but what are his comments on this? And because they're defining that PSA should be less than 0.02 to define it as a cure, and if it is more than that, we should observe the patients. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, just like Dr. Kinjal just now discussed that when we are giving very high doses like LDR brachytherapy to prostate, there is a very good response, although saving the normal tissue by brachytherapy very nicely. And that is reality that very less persons or the less centers are doing brachytherapy. In this study, they had done mainly the patients were taken off LDR brachytherapy, but other modalities also like EBRT and androgen deprivation therapy. So they had divided the PSA into 4 grades, less than 0.2 nanogram per ml, then 0.2 to 0.5, 0.5 to 1, and then more than 1. So, but they showed that 0.2, if the PSA is sustaining at after LDR brachytherapy, the 0.2 nanogram per ml, then the disease-free survival at 10 years and 15 years are very less, and it can be taken as a biochemical cure. Although ASTRO in 1996 they had defined as a biochemical response as 3 consecutive rises biochemical failure. So they say 0.2 nanogram per ml if maintaining, then 10 to 15 year disease-free survival is quite good and it can be taken as cure. But rightly you said that the persons who are having higher than 0.2, they should be also followed up. They should be taken care that how they are behaving on follow-up.
So I'll go to the next abstract, and I'd like to ask Dr. Francis Jones for his opinion on this.
This is a very good trial.
It's
a very good trial which recruited 440 patients in each arm into moderately hypofractionated radiotherapy and SBRT. The results are awaited because it's too early to say anything about the results, but this is a report of the acute toxicity which looks similar. So the acute toxicity is similar in both arms, but we should understand that there is a difference in PTV margin. For the moderately hypofractionated schedule, the PTV expansion was 5 to 9 millimeter all around, except rectal side, which was 3 to 7 millimeter, and in stereotactic it was less than 5 overall expansion. So there is some difference in PTV, which will partly explain the less similar toxicity. So that reduction in PT will certainly bring down toxicity. And there have been few changes happened to the trial while the trial was recruiting patients. Initially, the control arm was 78 gray, then it was changed to 62 gray. As you know, the moderately hypofractionated schedule was 60 gray. I don't know. I was checking why they changed to 62. And the explanation they have is that since the patient does not receive any LHRH agonist, they thought they will add another dose. So that's how they came to 62 gray. Then in the beginning, only CyberKnife SBRT was used. And after some time, Linac SBRT was also added. So there have been few changes for the trial while the trial was recruiting patients. So, but on the whole, this is found to be safe in terms of acute toxicity. But we'll have to wait for longer to get the result.
So I would like to ask from whether this many of us are practicing SBRT in prostate cancer, and what is the regime? So Dr. Kinjal, Dr. Rana, Raja, Harpreet sir.
So I don't do SBRT for prostate. I'm not started yet. I only do hypofraction, moderate hypofraction. So yeah. I have no experience of SBRT in prostate.
Okay, and Dr. Dinesh sir.
Yeah. Same with me. We are doing hypofractionated, but we have not started stereotactic yet.
Okay, sir. So, with in the interest of time, we will go to the next abstract, and I would like to ask Dr. Harpreet Singh sir, my teacher, for the comments on this study, which is the SABR comparison of 11-day SBRT versus 29-day SBRT. Although, as we have seen, most of the panelists, we are not practicing SBRT, but yes, it is one thing which is coming very fast in arena of radiation oncology. So, sir, what is your opinion?
Yeah, it is coming up in a big way. SABR in prostate. Even though the late toxicity, especially the GI is and genitourinary are a problem, but I think over time, like they have documented, if we give one fraction a week, it is superior to what we give on the every alternate day. So as far as the quality of life and the toxicity is concerned, so I think this is a step in the right direction. Maybe we'll be hearing more about it in the coming years to come, and even the PACE trial comes up with the final results. So I think this is a good way, and I think it is also good for the patient who has to come for a lesser number of times in the hospital. Now, currently we are in the COVID scenario. Still, patients don't want to come. So this might be helpful. In the later years also.
In fact, sir, the radiobiologically, it also makes sense because you are giving a lot of time for tissue repair, and that is what is reflected in the data also. Yeah. The only thing is that once you tell patient that your radiation will be over in 11 days and here it will take 5 weeks, although once in a week he has to come, but you do have to come for 5 weeks.
Something like a chemotherapy, which is patient comes sometimes once a week or maybe once in 2 weeks in some chemotherapies. So something like that. Patient come for an hour or so.
If you are starting SBRT program, this should be the approach while starting, because that will give us a lot of safety net to avoid a lot of late toxicity. So this should be the way once you start doing SBRT, the beginning at least. So I go to the last abstract, and that was presented by Dr. Deepak. High dose rate prostate brachytherapy comparison of two regimes. 2 dose single versus 2 fractions. So I'll go again to Kinjal for his expert comments, and then I'll close the session.
Yeah, so just like muted brachytherapy, what we do it for cervix, here also we have multiple fractionations available for prostate. In the first slide they had shown that there are different regimens available: 6.5 into 6 fractions, 5 fraction, 4 fraction, 2 versus 1. So in this study, they compared 2 fractionation models. They compared the 19 gray in single fraction versus the 13.5 gray in 2 fractions. And to the surprise, we saw the recurrence rates, the local as well as the distant recurrence. In a 13.5 gray to 2 fractions, there are only 2 failures out of 80 patients. Whereas in a 19 gray single fraction, there are 20 failures in 80 patients. So it was almost, 25% failure rate in a 19 gray single fraction. So here they concluded that, giving a 13.5 gray into 2 fraction is having a lesser recurrence, and the complications are comparatively better. So I also agree, rather than giving a full high dose of single fraction, better to give a 2 or 3 sittings. And keeping a more number of sittings, it is difficult for the patient to keep the tablet in place. So 13.5 into 2 looks to be a good option. Again, expertise is the most important thing if you plan to start here in India. So I would conclude it in that way.
In the end, I will only like to ask the comments of my chairpersons on the scenario of radiation oncology in prostate cancer. We have hypofractionation, moderate hypofractionation, we have extreme hypofractionation, and also brachytherapy. Dr. Rathi sir and Dr. Mahajan sir, if it is there, is available, and Dr. Mohammed sir, if they are available, what are their comments on all the abstracts presented, and what shall be the way ahead in prostate radiation or prostate cancer radiotherapy?
Dr. Mahajan sir, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Sir, Dr. Mahajan?
I think, sir, he's not there, sir. You can give the concluding remarks, and sir, I'll call.
Okay. See, prostate, the hypofractionation is the thing, and regarding the last presentation, 2 fraction versus 1 fraction. See, it's always good to do in one, but I don't know if the results are not good. But if you are able to do it in 1 fraction in the COVID, I think it is excellent. But 2 fraction also is doable. But they talked about it as a OPD procedure. You can do the implant and take it out the same day, and then the next week so you do it again. It's a cumbersome process. Doing a prostate implant like Cupid tablet. So Cupid be able to do 5 fractions, keep it indoors, and then repeat the fraction morning, evening. So I think something of that sort can be done for prostate also. And if you are able to do 2 fractions in maybe at a interval of a few days, meaning 1 day or 2 days, that should be a better option. I don't know, somebody would do it, and let's see. And I thank the organizers, Dr. Jain and Dr. Raja and Rajeshu Vasishtha for coordinating the whole session. And that's it from me.
Thank you so much, sir. I thank all my panelists.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, please, sir.
Sir, please, sir.
Yeah, I had been watching, all along, and sometimes it was unmuted. So anyway, it was very nice discussion, and all of you, including Dr. Rajesh, Dr. Rathi, Dr. Raja, and Dr. Dinesh, Dr. Francis, they added valuable comments. And the presenters were also, they were quite up to date with the subject. But still, I feel that, I will like to comment on 2 studies. One from the UK, University of Birmingham, about muscle invasive disease. Actually, when we started radiotherapy, we used to have these 20 fractions treatment for most of the diseases like CA cervix and CA urinary bladder. And we used to add that any increment above 200 centigrade, that is going to increase the probability of the control. And so those studies now, when they have been done under randomized control and with better sophistication, because the imaging has much more improved from 70s to now 2020s. I am saying we started therapy. I started in 72. So but still the concepts are the same. The other study which I want to comment upon, the brachytherapy for the prostate, where Dr. Kinjal also commented very rightly, that is 19 GY versus 13.5 GY. So recently, 2 years ago, we started at our center for CA cervix. Earlier, we used to give 2 fractions of HDR So we were treating with 4 fractions. Okay, BD. That means in 2 sessions. So first day when we do, and then in the morning, and then we used to remove the applicators. And third and fourth used to be after 1 week. And we found that the BD value was between 28 and 30. And the control rate was much better, and it was more acceptable to the patients because they had to visit only 2 times. And the applicator used to stay only for less than almost 24 hours. So again, the fractionated regimens are better than hypofractionated, especially in high dose rate scenario. So whether it is in any brachytherapy, that I think that impression or our old experience that is being validated now. So anyway, it was very nice session. And yes, the role of genomics, that was another thing which is upcoming. The it is always better to find that is a continuous exercise which we have been doing, and with the present generation has to do it, and it has to continue to find what are the grave, are high risk areas where we could concentrate to give individualized treatment, or what today we say personalized medicine. So anyway, it was a very nice session, and I joined you in thanking the organizers, Dr. Neeraj Jain and others, and I highly commend all of your efforts for having this session continuously. My deep gratitude, thanks, and best wishes.